Good evening, guys. It's another episode of Snippets with Vyans and Jam, and we'd want to go through something on time management and success. And so, there was someone who asked me, what's the biggest hindrance in making progress in all aspects of life? So, how do I succeed in all aspects of life? So, that's a good question, and while we were pondering with Jam on how to best discuss it, this is what we came up with. So people, when they say they want to succeed in life, everybody wants to succeed in life. But why do most people have a hard time doing the actual succeeding? Because really people say they don't have time for it. If you want to challenge them on something worthwhile, they say, I'm too busy right now, I don't have the time for that. And therefore, some people don't really progress because they don't have the time for it. And we'll be talking about the mindset. We don't need to be trapped with the mindset of an either or. Again, we don't need to be trapped with an either or mindset. What does that mean? Usually, we limit what we can do at the same time. For example, do I work or full-time business? We usually think either trabaho full-time or full-time business. There's no middle ground for most people. Or for example, career. If career ba or family, which means I may succeed in career but I may expect na hindi ako mag-succeed sa family. Or I'm succeeding very well sa family, well, that may mean I'm not succeeding that much in my career. Or for example, it's career or ministry. Either career lang or ministry lang, full-time. There's no either or, there's no end. Sometimes it's save for retirement, focus lang on building money, equity, or travel and experience the world kahit walang savings. I think most people who have a hard time succeeding at multiple aspects of life are challenged with a mindset of either or. My proposal is that we think of end. We think of the end mindset. I can succeed in both work and do a side hustle business. I can succeed in both career and still be a loving father, a loving daughter, son, wife. So it can be both. It can be both succeeding in your career and at the same time doing great work in the ministry and helping the cause of Christ. So these are the mindset I want to stick with you. We are not thinking on either or, we're gonna think and. And if we want to succeed in multiple aspects of life, we have to think and. So when you say choices, usually when you talk about either or, that's really not a choice. That's just a dilemma. You're choosing from one or the other. What really gives you choice is when you're able to see what's on the table and make decisions on how you can be efficient and do these things. Ano yung pwede ko be more efficient on, and what can I do to succeed in these aspects of life where I want to succeed. Now, caught in the type of thinking of they have to choose one over the other entirely. So let's take out the word entirely. We can succeed in ministry, in our career, in our family life, in our finances, how we prepare for that. So we can succeed in all at the same time. So I'll give you an example of a person that was reporting to me before when I was in North Mindanao. And he had the dilemma of choosing work or business. So he was gonna give to me his resignation letter, and when he gave his resignation letter, I asked him why before I read it, and he said he's gonna do business, a stall business. And to cut the long story short, what happened is he really resigned. And after a few months, the business failed. There were things that he was not able to incorporate in the plan. And then he tried to contact me again to find a job. But he no longer had bargaining power, and he lost 2 years of his career because he had a hard time recovering from that. So what I mean is, you don't have to really take the jump. If you want to work and have a business, you don't need to take the jump immediately. You can actually do work and business, allow it to grow, and then eventually when it's time you want to do business fully, you can make that jump. So we have to think in. Question. So we talked about the negative side. Let's think about the positive side. Have you seen people who had great careers and yet had awesome family time? Yes, there are a few. They may not be too many, but there are people who succeed in their career and have great family lives. Are there people who also succeed with family life and ministry and careers at the same time? Yes, there may be fewer, but it can happen, and I've seen people who have made it happen. You just need to be more dedicated in achieving that outcome. You have to be more disciplined, especially with time. And that's what I really would want to talk to you also, is the time part. So some people, I understand the realities of having to work more than 8 hours. You have jobs that are very demanding, take also 10 hours, take you until midnight for some. For some, it takes them even their weekends are part of what they do in the job. So, but if you really have the mindset of end, you can find a way. And we'll give you actually 2 tips. So whether you're a Christian who wants to be more involved in the ministry but you feel like time has been an issue, or if you're a professional who wants to succeed both in career and family time, or even multiple parts of your life, I'll give you 2 tips for now. We'll actually have another episode on the other tips, but I'll give you 2 for now. So wait for part 2 as well. So the first tip is NET. What does that mean? It means no extra time. So when somebody's already full in terms of their time, or so they say, how do you put in new things into their schedule that makes it work? They don't need more to-do list. They need to be efficient with their time. So net time is really not something you add to your time. It's something that you incorporate into your time. So for example, I drive to work 1 hour going and then 1 hour going back. About 2 hours to 2 hours and a half every day. So that really takes up a lot of my time. That takes up about 10 hours, 12 hours of my time in the week. And so I have to be efficient with that. So what do? I'm efficient with driving by incorporating other things, like, for example, listening to audio training. So I want to develop my leadership. I want to develop my understanding of God's Word. What can I do with the 1 hour or 2 hours I'm driving is to incorporate both. So I don't need extra time to learn. I'm actually just incorporating it into driving. For example, commuting. For some, it's the same thing. They commute 2 hours, 4 hours a day. What if they would be able to be more efficient with that commuting time by having a no extra time and merging things together? For example, listening to audio trainings on your role. Maybe if you're whatever role you have at work, if you're an engineer, listen to YouTube videos on how engineers do it, and what are the best practices. You can look at leadership trainings. You can really look at a lot of content online, and these are things you can do as you're commuting, and you don't need to add more time to what you're doing. You're just being more efficient. For example, taking care of my fitness, meaning because I need to have the energy to do all the things I'm doing. But at the same time, I also want to grow in my skills, and so I also listen to trainings, audio trainings, while I do exercise. So rather than having 30 minutes for jogging and 30 minutes for audio training, in the same 30 minutes I'm able to do both. You see how much time that saves? That saves you a couple of hours a day if you're able to use net time. For example, dinner time. Of course, we have to eat. What do I include in my no extra time? I take it as a time to connect deeply with my wife. So to develop my relationship with my wife, and at the same time eat. So I ask random questions during dinner, like not just how was your day, but so what's something that you learned today? And we have these discussions, or what are your dreams in the next 3 to 5 years? We have these discussions to connect deeply, but at the same time, eat. So there are ways to do this. For example, in ministry, you can have dinner with friends and disciple at the same time. If you say it's so hard to get them to go together and disciple and mentor them, why not do it through Zoom? Or why not do it while eating dinner with them and teaching them, talking about it? So these are just simple tips in how you can really be efficient with no extra time. The second would be block time. Block time, what does it mean? It means you block off a certain part of your schedule and you make sure that it's there, that it progresses. So for example, here we're doing content creation. This is something that we block in our schedule because if you're really a busy person, to be honest, there will be a lot of things or a lot of urgencies in life that will eat your time. Ito kailangan gawin, tapos ito nag-pop up, kailangan gawin. You have to block certain times to make sure you keep progress. For example, I have work, I have also a couple of businesses, I also am a lay pastor, I am also a husband, I do a lot of things, and I block time to make sure content creation is part of our schedule. So what we do with Jam is every other day we have 1 hour for content creation. Whether that's creating the content, video, whether that's editing, whether that's inviting people on the Facebook page, we make sure that's blocked so that we don't forget it. Another example would be a couple Devo and prayer time. What we do is we have a Devo time at 9 p.m. to 9:45, Devo and prayer time together. So this is part of the schedule, whether sa province si Jam or ako, I have to not be within Manila and we're not together in the same house. We will find a way to have this devotional together. We block it. So if you want to succeed in all aspects of your life, you have to be efficient with your net time and you have to block time so that everything and every role that you play makes progress. See you soon for our next tips on this is just part 1, so we'll be sharing more tips. See you soon. God bless. Bye-bye.